and then gonna walk to the other side. So today it seems like the gym is a lot more empty than usual. It is Friday night, plus it's extremely snowy, and I think the weather is kind of, I don't know, forcing people to stay in, I guess. Though I notice more people slowly creeping in, and it is 9 p.m. I was hoping that I could take advantage of how empty the gym is to do stuff. So that's kind of what my plan is for at the moment. But I don't know what exactly I can do to take advantage of the emptiness yet. But it's still early on in the workout, so it's not a big deal. Started off the workout with 30 minutes of backward walking. With about I did straight backward walking, no lateral walking, nothing like that. I might do lateral sled or something since I didn't do any lateral walking. Um, but yeah, let's see what happens. I think at least for right now, I might start off with something on the landmine, but don't hold me to that. But whatever's next, let's see what happens. So I've been, I guess, warming up and messing around for the past 30 to 40 minutes. And I've decided that today's workout is going to be mainly surrounding the sled. And specifically with the sled, I'm going to do try to make it unconventional, since that's kind of my shtick of making things harder than they're supposed to be, I guess. But for good reason, I would say. I'm sure people disagree, and that's fine. Uh, I just think everyone should work out the way that they want to, that gets them the goals that they want. I don't necessarily frown upon any other form of lifting, but this is the kind of stuff that I like. Anyway, so right now I'm going to do a reverse sled with a twist. So engaging my core and trunk muscles to do the twist while engaging my legs to do the reverse sled. So it looks like this. With each step backward, I'm also twisting at the core to bring the plate to the side, building a good rhythm while moving. After the forward part of the movement, while coming back, I'm going to move forward with the sled, but as I'm moving forward, I'm going to do a march. Looks like this. So holding the plate upright forces my upper body to stay engaged, and then the marching motion forces my hip flexors to engage as a part of the movement, driving through the toes into the ground to bring the sled forward. So yeah, just gonna keep repeating this for a bit. Marching kind of simulates like a sprint. So when you're sprinting, you're usually like raising your leg up quite high. So yeah, pretty much trying to do that under resistance, which in my opinion should translate into a better running speed. So yeah, I do make things unconventional, but there is kind of a reason behind some of the things that I do. And while I'm not 100% sure if all the movements that I do translate into the things that I want to do, they certainly don't hurt. But yeah, that's what I'm doing for now. So, keeping with, I guess, the theme of doing the sled, but I'm going to superset it with kettlebell movements or certain other odd exercises or whatever. So one of the things that I'm working on is my shoulder stability. So if you guys watched yesterday's workout, I did a lot of movements where I was doing things overhead, and being overhead forces like the shoulders to be extremely stable, like the stabilizers. So what I mean by that is like here, if the weight kind of tips like that or sideways or back or any either side or backwards, there are muscles responsible for keeping the shoulder, I guess, in the socket and being able to hold it like this. And those are essentially what I mean by the stabilizers, the muscle responsible for keeping the weight here, and even if there's a slight tip or a side jerk, um, it doesn't like ruin the integrity of the shoulder. I would say a structural integrity of the shoulder. So I'm able to train that while doing reverse sled. So I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but it is my belief that if you're able to get your shoulder to work. So yesterday I was doing a movement where I had my hand overhead but also squatted. So there the shoulder stability is being worked while I'm doing a squat. Now my shoulder stability is being worked while I'm doing a reverse sled. It is my belief that if I get my shoulder stability right in a variety of different movements, the likelihood that it gets stronger, faster is much higher, because I think the body will start almost like noticing a necessity for like accelerating the growth, because it is such a constant I guess component of my daily life that it's going to want to adapt to the stimulus quicker. So for example, when when people tell you to build a habit or something, they tell you to do something every day regardless of what you did the previous day, and or even exercises such as pull-ups or push-ups. People do them every day and it ends up strengthening the back a lot faster. So I'm kind of applying a similar concept to where uh, regardless of the movement, I'm going to add a little bit of like instability to make sure that my body is really stable. If you can be strong when things are unstable, and when things are stable, you're going to be really strong. Most people get injured when things get unstable and they're only used to stable stuff. Instead, I'm going to focus on a lot of unstable stuff and do some regular movements, because it feels like movements in a day-to-day life is rarely ever like perfectly symmetrical. You're usually stepping on uneven ground. You might be carrying rocks that on which weight is unevenly distributed. You might be carrying bags that have a lot of slack, so the bags are moving as you walk around. Um, or yeah, any number of things. So anyway, for the second movement in the superset, I'm doing curls with the kettlebell, but attaching a band. The attachment of the band causes the weight to bounce around as I'm curling, uh, which forces, again, the muscles that require that are required to be recruited for instability to be activated. So what I mean by that is, if you notice as I'm curling, right here it bounces around a little. So my biceps have to tighten up in a very peculiar way to make sure that that it's not bouncing around with the weight. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I hope what I ranted about makes sense. Being Life is rarely stable, and if you're strong when things are unstable, then you'll be more prepared for just anything that happens in your day-to-day life. And if you're an athlete, uh, so like let's say you're playing basketball or something, let's say you're going for a layup, you get collided. Like, you're never just truly just jumping and laying up. You have to be able to absorb impact, stay stable midair, and shoot and stuff like that. And it's my belief that doing these unconventional movements will lead to a better athleticism when it comes to things like that. So I've progressively been adding weight to the sled as as I go on with the sets. But I am playing around with the movements that either I'm incorporating into the sled or that I do as a superset. Anyway, uh, for this for this variation of the sled, I'm using a towel grip on the kettlebell to activate my forearms on one side and do the same thing of going overhead to promote shoulder stability with the other hand. I'm gonna walk backwards while staying in this position. Again, extremely awkward. Probably makes me look funny. I don't know, someday someone's gonna make a reaction video of how silly this looks and how you're gonna get injured and etc. 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 I'm not asking anyone to start off lifting like this, but imagine if you get to a point where you could start lifting like this, or you are strong in all these unstable, weird variations. Do you think you're gonna get injured? Or what's your likelihood that you're gonna get injured? I think it's very low. I think people get injured when the body encounters something that they're not prepared for. By training your body in all these sort of awkward ways, at least once in a while, maybe not all the time. Like, I think most of the time when I do sled, it's standard enough. But if you get your body strong in all these awkward positions, when you know you get a slight bump or something, or you encounter a weird twisty motion in your life, or you have to handle heavy but uneven weights, there is probably a very low likelihood that you're gonna get injured. And also, you'll be able to use all muscle groups with decent amount of weight all at once, which should in my opinion, translate into being able to use your body as a unit. Anyway, this is super tiring. Um, Gonna do this for a bit. Also, since there's a lot of weight on the sled, there's a lot more growth hormone being released. So, usually you're doing a kettlebell motion without the sled. By incorporating the sled as a part, or incorporating these stability things as a part of the sled, I think I'm gonna get more growth because the overall resistance involved in the movement is much higher. And I could be wrong about that, but I think there's something to be said for just the overall load your body is experiencing at any given time. And by incorporating all these stability things into my sled, I think that excess growth hormone release is going to help me recover from things faster, but also make it stronger faster. But yeah, I could be wrong about all this, but this is what I believe, and it's fun for me, so that's what I'm going to do.
So, unfortunately, my microphone malfunctioned at one of the cool parts of the workout, but luckily it's just for this set. Anyway, so as the workout kept going on, I decided to progressively up the craziness or the difficulty of the stuff that I was doing. I was progressively adding more weight on the sled and then also adding components to the sled to make it extremely challenging. So here I'm carrying a barbell in a Zercher hold with 10 pounds dangling off with resistance bands. And the dangling of the resistance bands creates an instability component. So you notice the weight just kind of bouncing around. It's forcing me to really stabilize myself at the core to be able to perform this movement without tilting to either side. And while all this is going on, I have to be able to focus on moving forward, so driving through my legs to move the weight. So yeah, um, pretty intense stuff. This is my first time doing this movement, but it certainly won't be the last. I like to find different ways to challenge myself, even if it looks silly, but I think there is a lot of overall body strength to be gained from doing stuff like this. It's certainly not something you want to start off with, but yeah.
So I think anything that's trained forward should also be trained in reverse. So, when so now, since I did forward sled the last couple of times I did this movement, I'm going to now do the Zercher carry while doing a reverse sled. So let's do this. Ah! Ah! Not bad. Right, time to do it back. The biggest problem with this is the time it takes to reset, but it is what it is. Can't have it all. All right. Ah, cramp, 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 cramp. Ah, fuck, cramp. Ah, 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 ah. Yeah. Uh, I'm gonna do the sauna, and then that'll be cool. Yeah. Yeah, I'll send it to you. But yeah, what was that? That was kind of cool. So, one final odd exercise before I head into the sauna. I'm going to do a suitcase carry with weights dangling off with the barbell. The wide nature of the barbell will make it really hard on my shoulders. The bouncing thing is going to force a lot of stability. Again, I'm just having fun. Uh, I'm not asking anyone to try any of this, but I do believe if you get to a point where you can do stuff like this, you're going to be pretty athletic and injury proof. So anyway, finding the center of the barbell and going to deadlift it up and then going to walk to the other side. Whoa. Switching sides and coming back. Ah! That was kind of cool. That was just my second set, and that's all I'm doing. Time for some stretching, which I won't record in sauna.